Good afternoon, Elkhart Northside. Today is a very important day in Holy Week, a day we refer to as Good Friday. It's also an important day in the life of the church because we are reflecting on Jesus' death on the cross. Today I'm looking in the Gospel of John, chapter 18, at Jesus standing before Pilate. Pilate was the governor of the area. Pilate had kind of the ultimate authority in the area too as well. He had the ability to give life and to take life. He was fully backed by the Roman government. And normally this is how I would tell the story, that Jesus is standing before Pilate in John chapter 18, a man with all kinds of power. But I thought maybe today I would reverse the story. And maybe I would start by telling you Pilate is standing before the most powerful man in the world. The greatest ruler of all time. The one who continues to rule to this day. The one whose kingdom is without end. God himself in the flesh. Jesus, the Messiah, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. Pilate is standing in front of this man. How does Pilate choose to spend his time standing before Jesus? He asked him questions. The first question that Pilate asked and deals with is the question from the crowd. The crowd turns over Jesus to Pilate. And Pilate asks, "Why are you doing this? What charges do you bring against this man?" And the crowd answers, "He's a criminal. So we're turning him over to you." And Pilate says, "You have your own laws. Why don't you take care of him? Why don't you deal with him?" And the crowd responds by saying, "We can't execute anyone. You have that power and authority, Pilate. That's why we're giving Jesus to you." So then Pilate turns his attention to Jesus. And he asks Jesus some questions. One of the questions he asks is, "Are you the King of the Jews?" And I love Jesus' response in John chapter 18, verse 14. Jesus says, "Is this your own question, or did others tell you about me?" Pilate then asks another question, a rhetorical question. I'm sure it was meant sarcastically. He says, "Am I a Jew? I'm not with you. I'm not a part of your people." And then Pilate asks another question. "What have you done? Why are you here?" And Jesus responds in verse 36. He says, "My kingdom is not an earthly kingdom. If it were, my followers would fight to keep me from being handed over to the Jewish leaders. But my kingdom is not of this world." And then Pilate, he basically asked the question, "So you are a king?" And Jesus goes on in verse 37, he says, "You say I am a king. Actually, I was born and came into the world to testify to the truth." To testify to the truth. All who love the truth recognize that what I say is true. And then the last question Pilate poses to Jesus is, what is truth? There's really a radical paradox taking place here, if you think about it. Pilate is asking what truth is, and truth is standing right in front of him. When we think about Pilate, we can think about maybe, have you ever seen someone so blind to the truth? We could also say that about the crowd that handed Jesus over. Have you ever seen a group of people so blinded to the truth? Well, the Jews had a custom, and this custom took place on Passover, and the custom was to release a prisoner. And so Pilate asked the crowd, you've got this custom of releasing someone in captivity. Would you like me to release Jesus to you? And the crowd says, no. We want Barabbas. A revolutionary, a terrorist is a better way to capture what Barabbas probably was. And Barabbas is set free while Jesus remains in captivity. From that point in the story, Jesus, he's sentenced to death. He's taken away, he's mocked, he's spit upon, he's beaten, and then ultimately he's led to Golgotha and he's crucified on a cross. And he gives up his life for our sins. He dies. After that, his body is taken down from the cross. It's wrapped in bandages and it's placed inside of a tomb. And a stone is rolled in front of that tomb and it's sealed and the story's over, right?